This is a paddle doll in ancient Egypt. And because of the fine art in Egypt, you never really get to see things of this type of quality shown because there's such great depictions. But you will notice that these paddle dolls seem to copy other dolls that exist all over Africa. And of course, these pedal dolls have their own meaning and their own symbolism. If you notice, there's diamond shapes on the lower part, which is supposed to be the lower part of a woman, and this lower part is supposed to resemble tattoos, which women who were dancers from the priestesses of Hathor, they would actually have these tattoos, and they were dancers, and they usually came from Nubia. So these pedal uh, dolls have been associated with Nubia. Here's an example of a Nubian who has the same tattoos, and you can see that they've got the dots there on the top representing the pelvic region, and then they have these items right here on the side. But what's stranger than this is that this type of doll, to me, almost looks the same as fertility dolls that were found all over Africa. The custom of creating dolls all over the world is a very typical one, of course, but look at the way they build them and look at the hair decoration and the braidingness. And that's something that you have to keep in mind, that Africa has things that they just have in common that you cannot separate from ancient Egypt. This is probably coincidence number 57 at this point. And of course, I remember I made a video 2 weeks ago. It was called Black Egyptian Proof, something like that. And I discussed the Medjay and Mentuhotep. And I showed how the Medjay were actually a nomadic people from Nubia, and this is proof because I found other scholars talking about it. I think it's actually accepted now that Nubians have always been part of ancient Egyptian history. I think the only place that doesn't accept this is actually the country of Egypt, and you should ask yourself, why wouldn't they accept such a thing? Why don't they want to accept the idea that the ancient Egyptians were black? And the answer is because that means they must have come from elsewhere. And of course, if you understand the might and the sophistication of ancient Egypt, everybody wants to come from that region. Okay, back to the thing. As you can see, this is a representation of the tattoo, the pelvic tattoo that I was showing you. So you look there, there's a pelvic tattoo, and the mummy had these pelvic tattoos on them. And once again, an example of like a more realistic doll. And this is Hathor, who was extremely popular in Nubia and was also associated with Nubian dancers, which they used to get a lot of them and bring them to Egypt as a typical thing. There actually is a famous dance, but I forgot the name of it, that they brought to Egypt that was associated. And of course, like the last video that I showed with that other guy talking about how one of the most popular hairstyles in Egypt was the Nubian wig. And as you can see with these dolls, it seems like they have the Nubian wig type hair, which I don't think was a wig, I think was their hair. So again, like I was saying, why would they not want to associate the ancient Egyptians with the black people? Because if ancient Egyptians are black, the original ones, then that means that they must have come from elsewhere. And think about that. That means that they have a sever in their history, and of course it means what happened to the black civilization that was once there? Was there genocide? Was there a displacement? Did they move in afterwards when everybody had packed their bags? So you're probably thinking, why are these dolls shaped like this? Well, I don't know in the sense of the ancient Egyptian one, but I know that the African ones have been accused of being phallic shaped, that this shape has to do with a phallus. But what I do know is that these are fertility dolls, which means they have to do with females and having, being able to give birth and anything like that. But the ancient Egyptian one as well is known would be known as a fertility doll because it's associated with Hathor and those tattoos. And Hathor is also known as the Lady of the Vulva, which then, there you go. This here connection might be tenuous, but it's one hell of a connection. And of course, you can see the way they depict the hair is just amazing. See, the similarities are stark. And of course, there's always one more thing.